Shana Tova, everyone. So what denomination are you anyway? It's a question I often get when a newcomer joins us from a remote location or a relative of a congregant logs into our virtual service either on Friday evening or Shabbat morning. We didn't expect it to happen that way, but on Friday nights in particular, we have tripled our attendance in a combination of Zoom and Facebook. Maybe COVID-19 has brought us back to the roots of religion, where you don't need to dress up, or drive, or socialize, or even wear. Friends, we are living through a COVID revolution, not only in the way that we interact and work, but also in the way that we gather as Jews. I sometimes imagine a scene 2,000 years ago. The great sage Rabbi Akiva is talking to Rabbi Eliezer, who was so close to God, he could make rivers reverse course. And the third rabbi, Rabban Gamliel, who edited the first Passover Haggadah. And they are debating what to do during a time of pandemic. People can't go out, says one rabbi. People are feeling isolated, says another. But we have an amazing way to bring people together, says the last rabbi. What do you think that those three rabbis would conclude? And that's why we decided 100 days ago not to retreat or languish, but to walk forward. On the second day of Rosh Hashanah, many rabbis tend to devote their sermons to politics or anti-Semitism, but that's not where I want to go today. Rather, I want to share with you a kind of state of the union to let you know where the cantor and I are going and to confirm this is who you are and this is who we are. On one particular Shabbat evening a few weeks ago, we were joined by participants from 9 states, 4 Canadian provinces, and from Argentina. Yes, but what denomination are you? Somebody really wanted to know. The Friday service has music, so it must be Reform. Rabbi, you shuckle back and forth like you're Orthodox. You use a Saturday morning and weekday conservative prayer book. And on Friday, you use a meditational siddur from the Renewal Movement. What exactly are you? And I answered, does it really matter? It all comes from the same space, and it goes to the same place. In the beginning of the Torah, it is written, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Translation, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Look at the first letter, the Beit, the first letter of the Torah, and see how it's built. It's got a strong backbone. That's our people. It's got a solid foundation, 3,000 years, and a heaven to watch over it. And to the left, there is open road. The 13th century sage, Rabbi David Kimchi, wrote that Shamayim, often translated as heaven, has as its core the word Sham. It means over there. And the word Aretz, often translated as earth, has as its core the word Ratz, to run. Put them together, and our goal within this limited lifetime as individuals, as communities, is to run from here to there. Not to stagnate, but to move forward. It's the ultimate direction of our lives. Every year we climb higher, we learn more, we improve, and that's why we reflect on Rosh Hashanah. And that's the same for our community. This year we've all climbed. The COVID virus has been tragic for so many. But earlier this year, we decided that a synagogue, our synagogue, needed to be more than a house of prayer. We needed to become even more a sanctuary from COVID, from uncertainty, from worries. A place where we can touch hearts at a time where hugs are not often possible. I was reflecting the other day as we were editing the final copy of yesterday's children's blessing and today's blessing of young couples. And as I sat there with the cantor in silence, I noticed that there were tears in his eyes too. What an amazing sight to see hundreds of photos of young people, children, parents, grandchildren, grandparents, celebrating family, community, and tradition. Denominations, meh, this is who we are. Yes, we are members of the conservative movement, but as the rabbi, I always consult with Talmudic law, which spells out ways steeped in ancient tradition to make the Torah and Judaism accessible to all. It's something they didn't always teach us in Hebrew school. That Judaism is based on kindness and flexibility, and that's how we've survived over time. If the congregation does not speak or read perfect Hebrew, the Talmud says choose another language, which empowers everyone. If the service is too long, God forbid, better to thoughtfully cut than have people walk out feeling incomplete. I am a graduate of AJR, the Academy for Jewish Religion, a rabbinical and cantoral seminary which teaches that all denominations are to be respected and cherished. The cantor also attends classes there too, studying with cantoral legend Saul Zim, amongst many others. And there we have learned, or have had it confirmed, something that we have felt all along, that there is something sacred to be gained from every denomination, or different Jewish cultures, or diverse backgrounds, life stories, and orientations, because it all comes from the same space and goes to the same place. This is the culture which we have all built with you over the last decade and a half, a culture which does not judge, but it empowers. An environment which guards against anyone, in the words of Jubilong's Archie Gottesman, ever feeling Jew-barrassed. Judaism carries a central message, that God created all the physicality in the world, rocks and stones, wood, bone, and flesh. But there is so much on this earth which is incomplete, and it's up to us to heal the cracks. As Leonard Cohen said, that's where the light comes in. We call it tikkun olam, the healing of this imperfect world. Indeed, the mark of a righteous person should not be measured by how many times a year you sit in a pew or read from fixed prayers, but in addition, and perhaps even more, how much kindness you put in the world. About 8 months ago, while waiting for a plane at JFK, I bought a book by Stephen Klubeck titled Checking In, Hospitality-Driven Thinking. And here's how it begins, page 1. Yes. When we react with service providers, he wrote, that's the only response we ever want to hear. Yes, I can take care of you. Yes, I understand. Yes, I'll do all that I can. Cantor, can you come over to my house and help me put up my mezuzah? Yes, of course. Rabbi, can you talk to my daughter's friend in D.C. who is thinking about conversion on Zoom? Yes, I can. Cantor, can you blow shofar outside of my mother's house? She's bedridden. Yes, of course. Can I attend services on Rosh Hashanah for the first time? No charge. Yes, with pleasure. Religion, most of all, must be about relationships. 4 years ago, I talked here about performing interfaith marriages, especially when the bride is Jewish and the groom is supportive of raising their children Jewish. More than 60% of young people in Long Island are intermarrying. But when the rabbi interacts with that couple before they are married, the odds of that family raising Jewish children rises from 25 to 75%. And as you saw in the video yesterday and today, there is a new and younger Jewish generation growing right here. Some are already attending their children Friday preschool, including our 21-month-old granddaughter, Clara. We talked about opening the Bima to everyone who has something to say, to support Israel, to condemn anti-Semitism, and work together towards a world of peace. This year, the cantor spearheaded the building of a sukkah in the parking lot of the adjacent Puerto Rican church. I've spoken on numerous occasions at the First Baptist Church of Glen, Cove. It was the first time that anyone has ever responded to everything that I've ever said by jumping up and down and crying, "Hallelujah." Last year, I was invited for dinner at the home of Father Kevin at St. Boniface Catholic Church in Seacliff. He ordered kosher from Ben's. How things have changed. Tradition cherished and supported, interfaith families welcome, Israel adored, children blessed, diversity embraced. Cantor and I have so much that we want to share and teach about Jewish tradition, past, present, and future. But we also listen to you. You who sit on boards and committees throughout our community. You who make the giving of tzedakah and charity a priority. You who cherish your children and grandchildren and teach them to be respectful of all, to be proud Jews and good citizens. You who have encouraged your children to honor their neighbors by wearing a mask and keeping social distance. We have now been on Zoom for 6 months. We have been Zooming high holidays for a day and a half. And it has, I think, brought us all closer together. Schmooze chat rooms for those who can't get out. Car parades to visit those who are homebound. The online teaching of Torah, healing services, yoga, lunch and learn. Our Limud Hebrew School is now safely reopened, where none shall be Jew-barrassed, where everyone belongs, and there is no such thing as a stupid question. Zoom, who would have thought it a year ago? But now it is the norm, and who knows what the future holds. I am a traditional Jew. I was raised in a liberal Orthodox home, and when I left Montreal after college graduation to live in the far northwest of Canada, my father, with tears in his eyes, said, "I hate that you're going out there, far away. I don't know if you'll ever amount to anything as a Jew. But if you must go out there into the world, at least say ulamad, go out and learn." And that's what we are doing here together. I wasn't completely sure when we initiated this journey, but we knew that we needed to move forward like the letter Beit at the start of the Torah. With so many alone, indoors, and isolated, how could we turn away? So thank you to our volunteers and staff and teens who have worked so hard for the past few months on planning, recording, and editing. How lucky we are, but it's something that we had to do. In the words of the late Tom Seaver, sometimes you have the honor and privilege of being in a position to do something amazingly special. If you have the chance, you must do it. And so we will. For it all comes from the same space and goes to the same place. May we have the courage to grow as a congregation in the years to come, to conserve our tradition, but also be courageous enough to run to that new place, wherever that may be, honoring our many denominations, backgrounds, and traditions across the spectrum, as we open ourselves to new ways to serve God, each other, and humanity, to make our little corner of the world just a little bit better. Here, where everyone is welcome and every voice is heard. For we have come so far. Now let's go and grow some more. As we wish each other a Shana Tova next year together. A happy, safe, and sweet new year to us all.